Hello everybody, welcome back to Orbis Overdrive. It's your guy Gimmick, and I hope that everyone is having a wonderful day. Now I know we didn't have a stream a couple weeks ago. There were some things that came up just unexpectedly. Thank you guys as always for your patience. I really do appreciate it. We're back today. So, today we're just gonna have a nice, fun, chill stream. And I know before everything starts, we know that there's a lot going on right now, and a lot of people have a lot of things to say right now. And first of all, I just want to denote that we are hearing you guys. We are aware of the situation. There's going to be a lot to talk about today, so all I ask is that, to make sure that what we're talking about today is going to be as much as we can, as wide of a breadth as we can, so I can take as much feedback down as I can and just send it back as best as I can. But hope everyone's doing well. There's a lot going on. As you guys might already notice, there's 2 links in chat that you're able to access the survey, which is a community-wide World Arena survey created by none other than Tristan Wolf. You're able to respond to that if you'd like to get your thoughts in on some things like the current state of World Arena and the ban protection slot. And in addition, in addition, we have a giveaway with none other than Pixio with a chance to win a Wave Pink monitor. So if you guys are super excited and want to join in that giveaway, still have a chance to do so. So feel free to enter !survey and !Pixio as well to get yourself into both the survey and the giveaway. But I do hope everyone's doing well. I know there was a little bit of issues with the command stuff. I hope it's all working now. But I do hope everyone's doing well. I see some people talking about their current progress in Epic 7, what they're up to, what they're excited for. And 1010 Zio is definitely a lot of struggle. I know Ryoko is having a little trouble there too. It's how it is. You'll get through it. I believe in you. And what else is happening? Well, we've had quite a lot going on in the past couple of weeks, but we also have some things coming up. Obviously, Epic 7 World Cup 2024 is going to be having its finals tomorrow. It's very, very, very exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. We will be talking about that a little bit about that later today. But for now, because the update for today was delayed to the 2nd of September, let's quickly go into the imprint segment and talk about what happened in the previous stream. And I say previous stream, but I really meant what we would have been talking about during the previous stream, so I do appreciate your patience. To start it off, we did have Frida announced and released during this time. Her artifact is currently able to be summoned along with the character. If you guys haven't, be sure to take a look and see if they fit your preferences. Obviously, not for everybody. I currently did pull for her. I think she's a pretty interesting character, especially for those who play aggressively. But, if you've got the bookmarks, maybe take a look into summoning the character. Moving on into our next slide, we had the end of the World Arena contention season. So as you guys know, it's already ended at this point. Hopefully you guys did well. I hope you guys placed well. I will be talking about a little bit about that as well with our guest. And yes, the featured character was Lionheart Sermia. Why don't we take a look at the skin one more time on this next slide? I mean, come on guys. This skin was a lot of fun when I first saw it. Like the voice lines, the acting, the goblet. It's just so much fun. I really do love the animation. Super fun, especially if you guys haven't seen our lobby animation. Love the lobby animation. It is so funny. Just really love it. I'm glad I got the skin. I will say that to spoil a little bit of how I placed, but I don't actually have her, so I can't use the skin. But at least I do have it for when I do eventually get her. Oh, and one other thing as well, to talk about celebrations. I know he's not here right now, but please, everybody, wish one of our creators, Sue, a very, very happy birthday today. It is his birthday. He did raid us. Thank you so much for the raid, Sue. If you checked back in, I do hope you're having a wonderful birthday. So everyone be sure to wish him a happy birthday. Moving on into our next slide, we had the start of the Pursuit season for Guild War. Guild War is always, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I hope you guys are participating. I'm participating. Our guild is pretty busy right now with both Guild War, but I'm sure that you might be a little bit busier with what's on our next slide here, which is the Ancient Inheritance season. Yes, we are currently pretty much in the thick of it at this point. We are week 3. It does end on next Monday, so if you aren't finishing up, be sure to do so. Coordinate with that guild as soon as possible. You do not want to miss out on these rewards. A lot of gear, a lot of bonuses, a lot of good stuff, and I think it's a lot of fun too. So we'll be talking a little bit about that as well with the current season of Ancient Inheritance, but why don't we get into the last slide for what happened in the previous, which was the Astromancer Elena boss for the Holotrials. So this is the new Holotrials and challenge mode. I haven't personally had a chance to play it myself. I've been a little bit too busy, but I hope that you guys have. Obviously, if you want to get the new exclusive equipments for the ML5s, that is currently Briar Witch Asteria, and for Arbiter Vildred, you've got to complete the challenge mode to get the currency. So that's all that. This is all that happened for the previous week. Again, as I was saying earlier, the update for today has been delayed to 9.2, so please be patient with that. There was a few things announced already on Stove, like the next coin shop rotation, but aside from that, we are waiting in anticipation for the next update. I'm super excited to talk about that once that comes out. But as you guys know, for Orbis Overdrive, where we always review the update and have a guest to join us, we do have a guest. Yes, we do, in fact. So why don't we just get right into that and introduce the one, the only, Divine Shadow. Oh God. Hello. Good morning.
I be taking over this thing. Put your hands up, Gimmick.
Before we plunder anything else, let us plunder the details about you, Divine. Tell us a little bit about yourself, you know, the kind of content you create for Epic 7, and just a little bit more on that.
Yeah, my name's Divine Shadow. I'm the crownless king, or the contentless content creator. These guys are just my friends. I've said it before. So I'm on Tristan's Wolf stream very early in the morning, covering Ancient Inheritance stuff when we can. I'll be popping over later on Sue's stream for his birthday. Once again, happy birthday to my man. Run the tournaments in between our yearly World Cup with Valky. And anyone else, honestly, who I've debated anime with Carr. I just go where I want. I sail these 7 seas free as I can be.
You really are like hopping from ship to stream, like ship to ship. It's actually perfectly symbolic. I love it.
It's a very fun thing to do, and other than that, it's very stressful, because other than that is my, you know how it is, 24/7-ish job making video games. As I was saying earlier, that is like fixing a ship out at sea as she's sailing. But man, that could have been a terrible tongue twister.
That was a lot, yeah. But I mean, it's great. I think it's really fun. I think that your content mainly comes from your presence, your voice. It doesn't necessarily need to be, oh, I have a channel, I have a video that I'm making, right? I'm just, you're just popping in wherever you can to continue to contribute to the Epic 7 community, which I think is a lot of fun and very unique for a creator.
Yeah, I just like putting my voice out there and representing a lot of people. You know, one of the things that got me into this was that you know, I had a lot of friends who are like, we need someone exciting on the World Cup casting, like somebody who could bring that energy. And I was just like, yeah, if my friends want it, I was more than happy to get that opportunity. And it somehow happened. I still don't believe it myself, but that's what I do to try to, you know, give back to my community. These guys are awesome.
That's true. You were a participant in our Orbis Capture Clash last year. I guess we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later down the line when we talk about Epic 7 World Cup and other things like that. But for Epic 7 related stuff, who is your favorite hero and why?
This is a little bit of a me answer all the way, because I know no one else stands with me on this. It's Blue Crozet. It's good old 4-star Blue Crozet.
Wow. I mean, like, I know we have a couple fans on the Discord, so they might be excited to hear there's another Blue Crozet fan, but why Blue Crozet, actually?
I think he has a story where he changes a lot, especially he has that antagonistic relationship with Ross until later on, until he comes in to support things. He's the leader of the Shield of the Cross, which is actually one of the bigger factions scuffling into trouble with the Chaos Sect and all that, which I think is another interesting underlying storyline. And to be honest with you, he does a lot for the story, and I always really like this. I always really like characters like this. People who support people in their growth through their stages, right? So other than, I think, funnily enough, the Chaos Sect X, Chaos God, not Trouble, but Blue Crozet has affected the most characters in getting specialty changes.
Which I remember you told this to me when we were, like, you know, warming up. That's like such an interesting fact, because I mean, how many characters has he affected, right?
Yeah. So he's been there with obviously with Shepard Jenna. That one's obvious, right? He's had that connection there. People don't actually know this, but for Unbound Knight Arrowell, he's the one who gave Arrowell that armor which is the big thing for her as she makes up on her journey on her own. And of
Right.
course, she was the one to give the test to. He was the one to give the test to and promote Commander Lorena. And I think that's another great thing, right? He saw those aspects in her, trained her up, and made her better all on her own.
Yeah.
That is like, I think that's really cool. There's not many characters who have inspired growth in another character except for one person, and they're a freaking villain. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah.
Certainly, sir. But it's so interesting. I love to hear like the diversive cast of characters and knowing that people love every single one in different ways, right? So that's always a lot of fun to
Yeah,
hear about.
I'm honestly hoping, with the recent updates, I've really loved getting those like specific lines when characters are fighting or with each other.
Oh, yeah.
Hoping Krozek can get the same treatment pretty soon, considering how connected he is as a character.
Certainly, I'm sure you have a couple lines on Troublemaker Crozet too. Because again, that I told us, saying this earlier, Troublemaker Crozet's one of my favorite Moonlight characters because it's not about this alternate universe or like different time. He is just another guy who just exists alongside Crozet, and they just kind of look like each other. And that's like my favorite. I love lore like that. It's like, no, this is literally just a guy. That is just a dude. And it's so fun. So I'd love to see stuff like that for extra voice lines or anything like that for characters like that, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So to move on into what was happening with the previous update, again, we don't have anything for this week as it is being saved for the second. We had a lot going on though that previous week, which was starting off with the World Arena season. So before we get into that, with World Arena, actually none other than Kristen Wolf, who is currently joining us in chat today, has made a community survey to talk about the current state of World Arena. If you'd like to participate in this is going to be sent from us to our team. So type in !survey and you can actually participate in that as soon as possible. We'll get the results as soon as we can, and we'll send it off as best as we can. So that's one part of it. But for the World Arena season, how did you place?
Oh yeah, I released 2 games in the last week. I released a game yesterday, which meant that I had a mad dash to get to Masters for the skin as soon as possible. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right, okay. I'm sitting with a couple boys. I put up the stream. I'm like, all right, we're going to get Masters, guys. Lock into a game. And I'm like, hey, there's something weird going on. I know Empress Ilnab is up on the board. And
yeah.
I'm like, oh, we're playing the Dirty Seas version. I was like,
that was certainly something that happened. I know that I remember that night I had gotten a lot of texts. Again, thank you so much to the community creators who sent us immediately all the messages being like, hey, something's going on with World Arena, something's going on with Frida. We acted as soon as we could, and it was only I'd say about a half hour, right?
30 minutes. Yeah, 30 minutes.
So thankfully we were able to act swiftly, yes. And yes, for Tristan Wolf's messages, if one of the mods can pin that, that'd be great. It'd be great to access for both the YouTube and Twitch side. Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah.
But that was a little bit of a hiccup. But outside of that, right? How did you do for the rest of your stream, or the rest of your stream, the rest of your placements and your matches?
Oh, it was a mad dash rush because there was a lot of people, especially this season, who were like a lot of people in the cut, as they say, just
right.
like with massively powerful accounts. I couldn't reliably outspeed people. I have a 304 Sea Phantom Politis.
304.
I don't keep things relative. I don't know if that's fast or slow, but like I wasn't always certain I was going to outspeed, and even then people were more than ready. And I think people were a lot smarter this season as well, because obviously we've got the championships going on. People are taking plenty of knowledge, plenty of aid from it. Especially think the inspiration of the revival of Death Dealer Ray. I feel like people lost some confidence in him after the release of Dragon King Sharoon and some others.
Right.
But I think Korea specifically really went to show how much of a threat he still is.
Yeah, very strong character.
Yeah, very strong character, and so people were prepared up to the nose for shenanigans all about, and I think it was fun. I think it was a good time getting to play amongst those matches, even if there wasn't too many.
Yeah, I actually just bought Death Dealer Ray from the coin shop.
Good purchase.
So that was me. I mean, my preparation was Laya, Moon Bunny, pray to everything that is holy that it works out. But I had a lot of fun this season. I really pushed myself this season just to see that I could do it. I reached champ. I reached champion this season. That is the highest I've ever gone. I'm very, very proud of it. I was at 2201 at the end of season, but we made it. It's like, climbing the top of the mountain and you just see your body just ragged and torn. We did it. We got there. But my character that I really relied on the most, I think, was my Laia, my Dragon Bride Senya, and my Festive Ida. Festive Ida helped me so much this meta. It was insane how well I was able to use it. Because I mainly just ban protected my Senya, who has Bastion, and then I'd put Ida behind that. And so if someone was like, oh, well, I have to, I'm just gonna soul burn with my Sea Phantom, right? And then here comes this 280 speed Ida, ready to just be like, nope, sorry, you guys go back. You guys go all the way back to the CR bar. And that really helped me out. It was something that a lot of people weren't ready for. And the matches where they were, they did have my number, but I had a lot of fun using them, and I hope to continue using them. But it was, to me, it was a lot of fun. I think it did help that I had ban protection, I'm gonna be real. But I know there's a lot of discussion going about ban protection right now, and that's why we have that survey. Again, check the pins. You can absolutely fill in your survey, the survey for your thoughts and opinions. We will be sending that as soon as we can. Once we have all the results compiled and everything. But Divine, what did you think about the ban protection system?
I think the ban protection system is interesting in a lot of ways. And I know people have problems with it. I acknowledge those problems, but let me just say a couple things specifically, right? Before I get into them.
Let me bring out the
There
notes.
are interesting ideas in E7 that are very difficult to execute on without something like ban protection. And that's really the problem here, is that you were showing me before, you're a big fan of Bastion and Perlucia, protect the princess in the backline kind of strategies.
Absolutely.
I think those are well and good, right? I really do value that. I'm a big fan, because I have it up to plus 30, of spatial temporal fan. You know, you come into a match, somebody thinks, oh, I'm going to be able to delete this unit, target them out specifically, and it just isn't the case, because that unit is obviously protected and stealth for that turn because of spatial temporal fan.
Right.
So there's unique strategies that are only available once you can have the security in believing that unit will get through the draft, right? Mir is an excellent example of that. And that's part of the problem with Epic 7. I'm going into full game dev mode here. There are certain playstyles that can only exist once you have two of something, right? You can't do a Fumir draft. You can't guarantee a Fumir draft until there's two of her. And you can't guarantee certain playstyles until there's two of them. It's the same way as where we say, where like, if there's too many counters to something in Epic 7, then that playstyle or that style is dead, right? If you put in two other units like Belian that countered out souls, this will be a completely different game.
Right.
And so when I look at all this, I'm like, I don't think ban protection is an answer that's going to stay. But I think it is a crumb or clue along the path towards something that allows the fun ingenuity of guaranteeing some strategies coming out. But and I also think it is a great kind of handhold method, or something that makes it a lot more approachable for very new players to get something across, especially new players that don't have all the units, right? If you don't have the 18 light knights we were talking about that just come out of a can and do everything, if you only got one, you can still get a fair job done with it. So,
and I find that interesting, because I know that I've heard some opinions saying, well, what if ban protection was for up to gold, right? Similar to how we have 2 ban slots for masters only, right? Maybe up until gold, maybe, ban protection's better. Or to say, maybe it's used for a different slot. I know someone's saying maybe use it for first slot for, more play your hand instantly, right? But I think that I think you hit an interesting point about a character. Basically, we had a lot of characters that used to be this kind of put them down and now it's your problem, right? And now that allows them to be slotted in the third slot, like a similar aspect, but I think that it is somewhat rounded out by the fact that it is your third slot, so your hand gets played too early, it'll fall apart, right? Like for me, I had a situation where I picked Laia right for first pick. My opponent went, for a 2-3, and I thought, I'm gonna get greedy and I'm gonna do second pick Bunny, third pick Naqual, right? But the problem was I played my hand too early, right? So my opponent was like, okay, I'm just gonna pivot out of that, right? I'm gonna try to make something strong, even if I don't have a Naqual counter, right? I'm gonna at least try to pivot in a way to where I overload you before you can get set up. And that's what happened. I got out to bed, right? So at least there's that some semblance, but I do totally get what you're saying about that security, which helps round out drafts for those who aren't, who might not have all the utility available, becomes a little bit too much of a punching point, right? About where it's like, again, I put this down and now you have to deal with it, right? And that's not gonna change no matter what, right? Rather than being, this is a strong counter pick that plays my opponent's hand or forces a harder pivot, right? I think that's kind of what you're getting at, right?
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm on. You got it. I mean, you're a dev too, so you understand.
Yeah.
You understand.
I have some experience, but I totally understand where that comes from. So that's why I'm putting that down. I certainly get that. So that's why, again, here I'm putting it down as soon as I can to submit. But also, again, that's why the survey is so important. In addition, skins, right? Lionheart Sirmia. What do you think about the Lionheart Sirmia skin?
Oh, I'm also with you. I'm in love with the Lionheart Sirmia skin. As we said before, Tristan Wolf's in there, and he appreciates his redheads. But for me personally, I enjoy just how the jubilation on our girl's face as she's sitting there. That's the only real complaint I have, is that I wish the voice lines were a little bit less hard, because she has the line where she's just like, "This goblin, I'll fill it with your blood," and I'm like, no, I don't even think she has to go that hard. I think she just needs to have a fun gosh darn time. And I really do love the smile on her face. She's sitting with the tiger. It's giving me some kaiju number 8 vibes right there, where she's just kind of like, enjoying herself. It has good inspiration. I think that's the thing too. A lot of skins take a lot of these alternate skins take inspiration in a lot of different aspects. And as much as I like the Briarwitch skin, I didn't like how much it was like tied into the narrative. I'm like, I feel like these skins should be more fair, more wild, and just more out there. And that's exactly what we got with Lionheart Sirmia, right?
Absolutely. It seems that Tristan got a little too excited, and our little bot seemed to time him out. It seems that it unpinned it. Mons, if you don't mind just repinning that. Be careful there, Tristan. Really, that's all I say. But yeah, for that kind of philosophy that you want to see with the skins, right? Which hero embodies that the most? Do you think, at least? Or which hero would you want to embody the most? And what would they look like, right?
Okay, yeah. Well, when it comes to I actually did this fit for this. Because unfortunately, I am full on a narrative guy, and against what I just said, there is one skin idea. I'm on my knees. I'm begging Smilegate for right here, right now. I want Admiral Mortalix. I think Mortalix. I think.
You're talking about like? Do you mean that like for a skin, for like a World Arena skin, or?
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Because I think Admiral Morton would go so hard.
I can see the vision.
Yeah. I think especially because if it's like corrupt Admiral in some kind of way, where it's just like, oh, I'm all about the power. We'll rule these seas. All that
Certainly.
stuff. Big Mort fans, especially because we do not get skins of the fellas too often. I wasn't the biggest fan of the LRK. I like the classic black on him myself personally. So I think getting an Admiral Mort skin where he has that cheeky smile, he's looking down on you, I think that would really make it for me.
You see, he rips his shirt off, but it's no longer a dragon transformation. It's just gonna be a boat just heading on in.
He's calling out. He's firing off the gun. He's just like, "Oh, ships!"
Like Navy Captain Landy, right? It's like, okay, yeah, you send your ship. No, I am the ship.
Yeah, you have a ship. I have a fleet.
Certainly.
That kind of energy.
That'd be really funny to see. I think more would be like an interesting twist. It is, for the most part, well, the trend that we have seen for World Arena skins is that it is a Moonlight hero. So but more, being a Covenant, right? It would be very interesting for sure. I think it'd be a very fun thing to see. Let's see here what else I have here. But yeah, I think that's kind of what mainly covers for World Arena. Let me just pop in my notes here and make sure I have everything. Yes. So some of the other things that have been going on these past couple of weeks was the side story, Welcome to Oasis Land. So I know this one has been interesting, to say the least, for the audience. Personally, I am a huge rhythm game buff, and I will show off some of the scores that I'm not going to be playing today, but I will show some of the scores that I do have for that. But I know that not everybody is super excited to be playing rhythm games for Epic 7. And so first of all, Divine, I want to hear what you thought about this side story. Story, characters, minigame, etc.
Yeah, one of the things I really feel, especially in game development, is that I love giving every sort of field of game design a chance to shine, and I think the music in Epic Seven is better than most. So I do love a rhythm game focused around playing some of those classic hits,
Certainly.
and moreover, so the second I saw Redos like pop in, his 2003 Guitar Hero 2 guitar and
Hmm.
start like hooking it up and jamming out, I'm like, oh, this is the best.
Oh, that's
As always.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I was like, "This is immediately a winner, winner, chicken dinner" in my mind, so, like, that was that. I had trouble, I usually don't, I had trouble on keyboard with it, so I had to switch the phone and get that more tactile feel with it
Definitely.
certainly was something fun. I did like the feedback, obviously,
Certainly.
and I think overall it's a good time. I like winter aesthetics a little bit more than summer. My
Certainly.
favorite side story is still Grandma Lencia's
That's one of
rebuilding
my
the
favorites too.
village.
That
Yeah,
is a
yeah,
real that one tears the heartstrings.
yeah, yeah. Everyone come together, but it was so good. Once again, got a shout out to Redos getting to see Arunca come back because a lot of characters from that part of the story have had reappearances. But I'm like, yo, I haven't seen Arunca in a little bit.
A little bit. She's
Happy
been,
to
yeah, a little absent, but now she's
hap,
back.
hap, happy to get her back into the fold as well as the rest of the cast. As I said, it's always good to see the characters and the cast having fun.
Yeah,
Always good to see a little bit of fun going on. Yeah.
it definitely is, for sure. And so I know a lot of people were saying, rhythm games aren't my thing, or, rhythm games are something that I can't access personally. I don't like rhythm games. But I thought, for the most part, I think that, there's no reason to like look at someone and go, oh, that's a skill issue, right? There's no reason to do that. And I think that
Yeah.
one of the really most interesting arguments that was brought up about their concerns with the rhythm game is there was somebody who was commenting who has actually only 70% movability in their hand, and it makes it hard to access the rhythm game mode. And I know that some of the achievements are locked behind not autoing, and it's the stickers, it's more the challenge ones, right? But I do think that is in part what the auto mode is there for the non achievement counting ones. But I certainly do understand the other side of it, where it is, yeah, maybe you're not able to access it, or maybe you do only have a computer or a device that you can't play the game in an accessible means, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's, I think that is that's a reasonable argument to be made, right? So I think
Yeah.
that I'll definitely be writing these down as part of feedback. But again, from my perspective, I really do love rhythm games. I love playing rhythm games. Actually, on my iPad right here, I grew up playing them. Like Demo, Citus, like there's so many cool rhythm games out there that use a similar kind of feel. So I fell in love with it. But I totally understand that some players had a little bit more trouble with this, and that's why I'm writing it back. But I will say that those ones that were a little bit more difficult, like the Chasing the Starlight one, that one was not counted towards all achievements. All the ones that are no auto mostly didn't contribute to the reputation. So you were able to at least get through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, some people saying better quality of life, stuff like that. I think it was a fun experiment for sure, but I totally understand that there are more things that could have been done to improve the system, and I think that's totally fair. So
Yeah. Yeah, accessibility is hard. I've talked about before planning for colorblind options. I recently worked on our game, and I was like, "Can we please not be one of those hundreds of games where you start it up and you just get your ear shot off, blasted with sound, and the first thing you have to do is scroll over to the menu to
yeah,
lower the sound."
yeah, just
Lots
like
of
hit
lots
with
of
an
little
instant
stuff.
attack. Totally.
I just every time I'm like, it's just like you come into the game, it's like you're like, "Oh my god."
Certainly. No, totally understandable. So we do appreciate your feedback, guys. I know there's a lot of people who are very passionate about that. I do have it written down. I've been submitting it as well on the Discord, and we also do browse a lot of the SNS, so stuff like that. And people also saying, I wish the game mode stayed after the event. Yeah, totally understand that too. I know a lot of people were talking about Brawl mode as another feature. Who knows, man? Maybe we'll get it at some point. But was a big fan of Brawl mode as well. Maybe even the idle mode would be fun. Like even if it's not like giving rewards, just having the garden again, stuff like that, right? So totally understand it. Any other thoughts on rhythm game, side story, etc. before we move on to the next part?
Just if we could get them in the rotation, I could see the beautiful future where people are, as you said, going back through the rhythm game to the TFT to all this stuff. And I really do think that like releasing that stuff alongside new music releases would be so much fun. But
That
yeah,
would be fun.
it's a
I
lot
agree.
fun. it's a lot of fun. It's a good way to get the community interactive with these elements and
Certainly,
happy
yeah.
for it.
Um, what was that? Someone said that it might be even fun if these were accessible during maintenance too, right? So, fun ideas. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next part, which is let's quickly brush through Ancient Inheritance, I suppose. How's your Ancient Inheritance going so far? And what floor are you on? Did you already finish, or?
Oh, we Prongo is on his last legs. I think we've backed him into a corner. I think the guy is coming back. He's on his dad's on his third trip back from the store with his milk,
Hmm.
and we're just putting him down in a grave. I think woke up. Tristan had like 14 million damage on him. I came in with the last hits, just like pumping in the face. Just take it, take it, take it. And it was 5 million damage in. Because like there's a lot of changes to the system last time, but this time everybody knew what the mission was. Everybody knew what it was. I was at a cosplay. I was doing cosplay at a convention during Ancient Inheritance,
Oh, really?
so I missed one day. I logged in to get my provisions, but I missed one day.
Okay.
Came back. I think in like 3 or 4 days, I was 10-10 light dark. I was like, get over here.
Wow.
I locked Prongo in a small room with me. I just looked at him. I was like, look at me, look at me.
Are you currently standing
I
in said small room, or?
I am in said small room. This actually just took him out back there, just a couple shots in the head. I was like, I am the captain now. I am the captain now.
Well, that's where we are. We're just finishing up third floor program, I believe. Yeah. So I chose Team Dark this time. It's kind of interesting. It's not as you don't shine as bright as the winners for like as team light, right? But
Yeah.
someone's got to do it. So it was pretty fun.
Somebody's got to cover the shadows.
Exactly, exactly. You would know, right? Being Divine Shadow.
Being
But I
Divine
mean, it's pretty good so far. Any other improvements that you feel like might need to be made? I know there was a lot of discussion about the original change to the element system, but I know that the new element leveling system that was introduced last time has been very helpful. I had to use it a couple times. Great little piece just to get my RGB up and ready to go. But I mean, for the most part, I feel like this was like a pretty solid season. And Destruction Res, that felt like it went kind of right for kind of just really good units right now. Like Celine, you could put it on. Any good Soul Weaver, right? For
Yeah,
Res set.
Audin's still a good one. You want
Oh
to
yeah.
hammer in and just delete a dark unit.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be good. The resist set is going to go so well for the Soul Weavers. We got that you're still getting played. I know a lot of even Janua. People got their resist Janua. We saw some of that at the
Yeah.
World Cup as well, and that gear is still going to be very effective for those types of people.
Hmm.
And Death Steel Array doesn't mind a little bit of effectiveness, a little bit of
True.
effect resistance. He
Certainly.
is a he's a
Good little
psychopath
boost,
like
yeah.
that.
Certainly. I got
Yeah,
to build them at some point, so I'll have to put my pieces together. And I know some people said, about the artifact charms. I will note that down as well. I'll have it right here. Okay, so
yeah.
before we get into our fun last little thing that we have for today, E7WC 2024 is happening tomorrow. And you have been one of the many, many amazing casters for E7WC. I want you to talk a little bit about your experience doing the commentary and if there's been any highlights that have really like stuck out to you.
It's been so. I'm glad to be here so I can give this as a little bit of a backstage view with the E7 World Cup
Oh
because
yeah.
we do a lot of work that I'm sure people. I'm not going to say they don't appreciate, but they don't realize is actually going on. So,
Hmm.
as you know, we have multiple casters for specifically the English version of the stream. So a lot of it is me gun running and keeping up with other streams and then coming back to Car, coming back to Jenna, coming back to Valky, and really sharing a lot of ideas and narratives. My favorite part actually this year has just been the opportunity to cast so many narratives. I was the one that kind of coming in and telling a lot of people, like, looking at the results when we lost Kukerbat so early, when we lost Pupus so early, like we are losing a lot of great stars here,
Don't
and
forget
it's
Elf
sort of
Mage.
a ride. Yeah, and Elf Mage as well, and we're gaining a lot of newer faces in here, a
Hmm.
lot of people that haven't been featured before that are this is their first time in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Rikazo was one of my favorites, such a smart drafter, and I do love the way he was able to maneuver in his drafts with hyper specific pitches. I think people like that bring something colorful to E7 itself.
Certainly.
We had some weird the weird prevalence of some hyper specific tech for units.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, we went in with Janua being such a hot ticket, and then him getting specifically countered again and again
Oh
by
yeah.
the archdemon Mercedes of all things coming in to seal him,
It was crazy. I mean,
debuff the whole
there's
team.
so much
Yeah,
going on. Yeah.
there was so much play and counterplay. Then of course you had New Moon Luna getting unbanned into the later portion. We
Hmm.
got to see her for one match, and it was back to the grave with ye never again, never. That was a mistake letting that out the coffin, but
It
that
happens,
really
you know. I feel like
changed
some
things
people
up.
aren't ready, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
they have a lot of options that they can use, but at the moment, right, they would rather stay with something that they're more confident in. You know,
stay
and
stable.
that happened
Yep.
as well last year with Navy Captain Landy. I certainly understand that. So it makes sense to me. But I did, you know, as you were saying, right, to play on your point, I loved a ton of these plays of just players. Making these crazy plays, right? Like I think one of my favorite ones was that Arya comeback during I think it was like day 3 or day 4, where I literally was, you know, because we take highlights, right? We're taking down highlights, we're trying to make content out of it, and I remember I wrote down, I was like typing, okay, this match here looks pretty good, you know, it was like a quick sweep from Sylvan Sage Vivian, and I went, hold on. Like I started like typing, no, it's not over yet. And then the Arya solo with the perfect tuning just coming back. Insane. Absolutely insane. I was like,
Good.
I was just watching it. I was just like, oh my gosh, that was like every second I was like sitting a little bit closer to my seat. That one really stuck out to me. And Gomiyabi's Camilla play. I loved that.
Oh yes, the deletion, the absolute deletion
Oh my
of Blood Moon Haste. Get the defense break, get the follow up,
Get the
get
target,
out of
too.
my game.
Yeah.
The target as well.
Oh my god, he was like literally, how much damage can I just send right into you right now? That was so much fun to watch, and I know that some people have been taking inspiration from other players for that specific draft. Even I was like recommending, couldn't you throw in Mui, like green Mui for that too? Like why not, right? You've got the enhanced dual attack, you might as well, right? But it really is fun to see, you know, people coming together with like the top of the top, right? And then on top of that, you've got these quiet plays that are going to be, you know, make these big surprise plays when they work. I know there was that one match with Green Mort as well that didn't, you know, work out as planned. But I love the confidence. I love that.
Yeah, you got a lot of that. We had a couple. I love when we go past the ostentatious nature. I don't know why that's the word of the day for me, but the grandeur of, oh, you pick your Laya, I pick my standard ambitious Tywin. Oh, Death Dealer Ray. All these nice tanky options. I like when it all gets dressed down and people are like, screw it, we're going speed imprints today. We had a couple matches.
We go
like
fast.
that.
You
I
know
love
what?
it. We go fast. We go fast. You want to see who goes faster? Who's got the better speed? Was it just two chimps locked in a
Oh
room
man,
screaming
the
at each
sit
other?
outspeed too, dude, that was crazy as
That
well.
that was great. That buffs for Sid, obviously buffs for Sid. I know you agree, but there's all that stuff going on. I'm trying to think. It was such a delight. Also, I got to say this, by the way, to get a chance to commentate with our pancakes. I know we have a lot of established combos already in the scene.
Certainly, yeah, I've heard a
There's
lot in chat
Jenna.
too.
Yeah, there's Jenna Carr, and then there's also on the other side, there's whatchamacallit, there's me and Valky.
Yeah,
But you know, I like sitting there with our pancakes. She's so smart. She knows so much about the game, and
certainly, yeah.
at all times, I'm just happy to let her go. It's such a different pace because I'm ramping up. Valky's challenging me in my energy. I challenge him back.
Oh
But
yeah,
it's also nice to have her very analytical mind, very deep thoughts about the game, how things are going to progress. And I think more than anyone else, she, like me, focuses a lot on the player mentality. She knows what it's like to compete, especially at a high level, and she focuses on that mental energy that I always
certainly.
like to talk about. And I know everyone isn't always on that. She's very cognizant and aware of it. And I think that's what helps her stand out and what makes her an excellent co-caster.
Yeah.
Absolutely love every second I get to sit there on stream with
Absolutely.
her.
And it's funny because both Valky and Far Pancakes are in chat. And Farsi, I believe as well, this was your first season reaching Legend. Is that correct? And if so, I mean, first of all, congrats on Legend in general, but that's your first time. Congrats once again. Like, seriously, that's amazing. So, you know, she absolutely has not only the knowledge behind it, but she can put her money where her mouth is and reach Legend, right? So, it's awesome to see that kind of stuff within our community. Everyone supporting one another. And yeah, I mean, that's what makes E7WC so much fun for me, is not only the fact that the matches are really fun, really hype, but the people behind it are as well are providing said hype, right? And again, you debuted at Orbis Caster Clash, last year, where it was a competition about who can become, the next commentator for like events that we host, ESMWC. And I remember seeing you on that show and just really making a show for yourself. And I'm really glad that it's evolved into you becoming a creator that has now casted our larger matches on top of the community ones.
Yeah, as I said, it was always my hope that I could just give something back to the community. And outside of piquing the gosh darn mics of a lot of people, I'm hoping that they are happy to see some genuine excitement, some good meme energy, always trying to keep on top of that, and
Yep.
really just something a little bit different. A little bit different is what I hope to bring, because I know a lot of people. Gosh, we have some of the smartest people, especially on the
Oh yeah.
co-commentary. I don't know if you know, but Valk has an IQ of 136. He actually showed me his results. I was
I'll
like,
believe
man,
it.
that's a gosh darn genius.
Oh yeah.
Carr is quiet, reserved, but he's always so cunning. He sees the sharpest little details. He's one of the only people other than me that will catch like an artifact choice that is like weird when it goes into a match. Bird's eye view
Oh yeah.
on the Ruel of Light, stuff like that. Genocide, of course, always just a magnanimous font of absolute intelligence. Also, gotta say, absolutely out of everyone other than Scalé, gotta say, Genocide, most handsome streamer in E7. Absolutely, that guy looks like a pinup model. I could definitely, I would hang up a poster of Genocide in my room. That's just absolutely how stunning the guy is with just his physicality. And I'm certain, like, he's been working on it. Looks better every day. You don't get that out of many people. So many talented and great people that I work alongside with
Absolutely.
on this broadcast. I'm happy to be the ugly little duckling that can shout into the mic and just get excited, just like everybody else. Just complete dumb energy, just going forward, just no brain, just whoa, another counter.
Hey man, give yourself more credit. You've done a lot to contribute to the Epic 7 community for sure, and that's why we're happy to have you here today. But outside of E7WC, you talked about being a game dev, right? So, are you ready to put your money where your mouth is?
Absolutely, anytime. I'll put this weapon too. My blunderbuss where my mouth is. If I
Alrighty
have
then.
to.
Well, give me a moment. I'm gonna move over. I have a little segment planned for you guys. So why don't I step up here and move into our next screen for the Sanctuary? Why not? Okay. Can you guys hear me? I've got this mic over here and I've got chat over there, so I can't really tell if you guys can hear me. But welcome to the Epic 7 Wheel of Balance. This is a new segment that I'm trying out. As you can see, I've got this fun little wheel here with plenty of different hero names, and today I'm going to spin this wheel and who it's land on, depending on the color. If it's this color, it's going to be to buff the character, and if it's this color, it's going to be to nerf the character. And now this is going to be mainly for the creator to come up with, but obviously we're just gonna try this out and see how it goes. I'm really excited to see what kind of things we come up with here. But just to quickly go through the list, we have New Moon Luna, Brigida, Blood Moon Haste, any underused specialty change, so a specialty change hero that is already established but maybe not used super much in the meta, Naqual, Peacemaker Furious, Lua, Twisted Eidolon Kairon, Laya, Fallen Cecilia, Janua, and then basically kind of like the wild card, right? Any 4-star Covenant hero that's not used. There was not much space here, but basically a wild card. If you do Green Sid, I'm gonna say a few things. That said, Navy Captain Landy as well. So, are we ready to spin the wheel?
100%. Give it a good spin. Give
All
it
right.
twice the energy for me. I'm a gorilla.
Sounds good. 3, 2, 1, and spinning. Let's see who we land on here, and it is Brigida. Alrighty. So we're going to be talking about Brigida, her current kit, and then talking about ways that we may be able to buff her. Now, I do want to replace this for now as well because we will have, future times for this. So in place of Brigida, Divine, who shall I put up on this board? To buff, that is.
To buff next time.
Yes.
Let me take a quick look through. I know there's got to be a good option. Honestly, Kane.
Kane. All right. Red Kane.
We need to give Kane something to do.
Give me a moment
Kane
here.
is-
I'm going to, I will say, there was someone who did first pick Kane against me in my master's push.
I
It was
saw
pretty
that
fun.
earlier. Yeah.
Give me
I'm-
one moment
Kane-
here.
Yeah, Kane is the most relatable hero in E7 right now because just like me, he's out of a job. He's going through that rough economy. I think he was doing some good work, and now he's sitting there. He's just outside with the box. Just please, will do anything for work.
Hey, We'll see. But for now, let's get into Brigida. I'm gonna pop right back into my other spot there, and we'll get started. We have 2 mics, by the way. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, let us pop right into game and get started talking about Brigida. So let me pull her up here and talk about her kit, and then we'll take some notes and talk about how we can maybe adjust her. So Brigida is a 5-star Ice Soul Weaver. She is a Scorpio. Let's take a look at her stats here. She's got quite a bit of speed, 114 for a Soul Weaver. She's also got a decent amount of health and a good amount of effectiveness as well. She is mainly to be putting on debuffs as part of it. So let's talk about her kit here. It's talking about skill 1. She is going to be decreasing CR, and when you apply block, which is a specific debuff that is unique to her, we'll go into that actually next, you push back a little bit further. It's similar to the Angel of Light Angelica situation or any other characters that are like that, like Nicole, where if a character is already decreased, then you can just trigger it, right? This does actually more decrease based upon having block or not, but it's in a similar kind of zone, right? Skill 3, I love this name, by the way. This is a really funny name, by the way. She will dispel all buffs from the enemy and give the bind and block debuffs. So block is a very interesting one where it makes the target unaffected by buffs, and also cannot dispel unless it's by themselves. So if you don't have a self-built-in cleanse, she will not, or you will not be able to cleanse it, right? The character will not be able to cleanse it. So pretty interesting stuff, right? And then bind obviously prevents extra attacks, dual attacks, counterattacks, anything that's not on their turn, right? And then we have this kind of a cleanse here where it's a 2 dispel and then CR for the ally and then an extra turn. So that's everything, right, that she's got here. And I think that someone has already kind of put one of the biggest glaring troubles that she has in the moment is that block is a little troublesome to work in terms of like situationally working, right? Because in terms of targeting a character like Celine, right? Which feels like it would make sense, right? Because when it's not her turn, she can't activate. But the thing is that Celine cleanses before she activates. So, and that's a self-cleanse, right? So the cleanse does take off the block, that takes off the bind, and now she can't act, right? So I think it's pretty interesting, right? Feel free to start speaking.
Yeah, when I look at Brigida, one of the bigger problems to me is actually categorically. She's a Soul Weaver that is a non-healing Soul Weaver. And if you look at other RGB examples of non-healing Soul Weavers, right, we've got Ning Ning, we've got Ahmed, we've got the recently released Frida, which we haven't gotten to see too much about, and we've got Sharoon, right? That's a pretty good wide net, right, I'd say, of our RGB non-healing focused Soul Weavers. Biggest problem, not healing when you come to your kit is a big deal, right? Yeah. Landy, Navy Captain Landy does not do a lot of protecting for her team as a knight, right? Right. But she comes to the board with the greatest form of protection, which is murder, which is murdering multiple people, right? You can't be hurt if there are no threats alive, and she even comes with the anti-crit. So it's that interesting balance of you'd like to see something outside of artifact options, especially because as you see with her S1 there, she's decreasing the combat readiness of other units. That's great, but she's not increasing her own. Right. And getting the effect out of something like Celestine or other artifacts that give you other versions of healing outside of the kit, you want, if you're going to get use out of an artifact like that, you're going to need some combat readiness push-ups to go along with it, right? So I'd like to see some personal increased combat readiness on her, especially because her S3 is 5 turns. Most of the time in a match, she's not getting back to it, especially when she has no prevalent form
or like cycling, right?
Protection. Yeah, she's not cycling back into it. So let speed her up a little bit, get her some more speed, and let her start pushing at least herself up along with her allies. That should be a baseline buff. Now, here's the other thing that makes me incredibly nervous, right? Brigida is underpowered. She's not great. I hardly see her right now. But she is one of those thorough line units where the second she is good, oh god, she's a nuisance and she's everywhere.
Right.
And you could feel block is an incredibly strong mechanic, at least in my opinion,
Yes.
because it is a problem you just can't deal with. It invalidates the idea of other soul weavers, which, to be honest with you, is not my favorite thing. I like it when units do their thing, or when a class is allowed to do their thing. I'm not a big fan when something can shut down another class, right? And I think we're seeing a little bit of how people feel about that way with Ilnov right now, right? People are coming back and forth on whether they feel, protection from penetration is worthy or not. I know a lot of people have grinded out penetration sets that they're now looking at and going, oh god, why? But it's block is certainly something where I'm like, if we're going to keep it around, my biggest worry is, and it's something we see happen, is that she does it to one unit right now.
Yes.
I'm just waiting for the ML that does it to the whole team.
Okay, I think that's totally reasonable to say.
Yeah,
in terms of because that was what like the progression from, let's say, Naqual to New Moon Luna, right?
Yeah, and it's that's why I feel like it has to be. That's why I feel Brigida's so limited, is that we're already prepared for the point where some unit does this to the whole team. Some assurances of making it a very powerful single target debuff, something that really takes out one specific target, would be good. And I will say this in her defense, and this is something I really like. She does not defense break. I'm kind of getting sick of the prevailing strategy, especially with Ambitious Tywin, being just to defense break somebody and kill them. Whatchamacallit? Recent units have relied on that as well. I'm trying to think of the name because it's a collab unit and I'm struggling. Oh yeah, Albedo is a big single target, just defense break and then delete them. And we saw it with Camilla before. I like the fact that she doesn't defense break. So
it has to be situational though, right? So
yeah. So with all that said, with all my rambling out the way, let's focus on what she's got and try to improve it. So the first thing I usually look at for something like this is the background, right? So she is from information brokers, right?
Right.
So she is an information broker. She likes having information on people, having dirt on them, and I think that's kind of where the idea of this S3 comes back, where it's just like, oh, you can't move, you can't do anything with it,
right?
And so dispelling all buffs from the enemy, and then inflicting bind and block, I think is great. If I'm going to be honest with you, I would actually like to see a combat readiness pushback as well.
CR pushback.
I think CR pushback fits in, or just even a slow debuff, right?
Right, or
a slow debuff,
right?
a decreased speed as well to keep things up. We talked about it before, but I'd like to see some combat readiness increases for her on her S1 so she can get more of them out. Hopefully, cycle some of these artifacts like a Celestine as well. And if I'm going to look at it, I think I'm going to be real with you. Most of the time, I think this is getting targeted on people that are not precisely going to have a high amount of effect resistance, so I'd actually also move the soul burn.
You move the soul burn here?
Yeah, move the soul burn to either S1 to increase the combat readiness pushbacks and push-ups, or make it team-wide. That's another good one that we get out of Arya as well. Or we move it to S2 and then just reduce the cooldown on it, right? Because so then we get constant debuffs in case you're in a match where you're like, oh, I really need somebody to cleanse debuffs as well.
So you're saying AoE on S2?
Not AoE on S2, but because it is very powerful. I'd actually, because I forgot that it does give the extra turn as well.
Yeah.
I think, but you know what? Maybe if we get desperate, AoE, get these debuffs off, because it's only 2. Like, my biggest problem I've been complaining about for a while now is that Laia is not a Soul Weaver, and she just says, screw all these debuffs, right? I'd like to see some more efficacy, and I think 2 isn't even that crazy.
Someone's saying if you could get like a double S2, interestingly, for like if the extra turn was here instead. But I mean, it is built in already, but I see what you're going for. And yeah, it is interesting that Laia, I mean, it's funny because Laia and Mediator are 2 characters who have full cleanses, right? So, and they're both warriors. Yeah.
And once again, it's so hard with non-healing Soul Weavers, right? As I said, the closest thing to relevancy in that gate, I would say, is Sharoon, just because she fits so well in these comps that have tons of venom, tons of venom, tons of venom. I mean, she's a dangerous partner whatchamacallit, Death Dealer Ray,
Yeah,
if they
certainly.
ever sit if they ever sit together on the same table. But that's the thing, right? And we talked about before, units really get their strength when they have multiple people either backing up what they're trying to do or engaging on that same level. And I think somebody that comes in and can execute well on her block is the unit. In fact, actually, I think what we were saying before with the speed down,
Yeah,
or with the speed decrease would be great, because then she really partners up well with, you know who I'm thinking?
I don't actually.
Blooming Litica.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because you can get that speed increase. Yeah, so if you're
You get the
going
speed
aggro
in.
anyways, right?
Yeah. You can get the speed increase, and I think that works out really well. And I think getting protection off certain units, especially if they're protected up to the wazoo, a Midnight God Lilius, it's gonna make it a lot easier to get to and disable her. And the last thing I will say is that it is a non-attack skill, which is just dangerous right now.
Yeah.
Which is
with
just
Celine,
dangerous,
yeah.
especially when you're doing multiple. I'd say, there's some workarounds with that. Just have the S2 kind of go in automatically after the S3, because gosh darn, like switch the S2 to a passive essentially, and then make S3 just go straight into S2, so you're not casting multiple
I see where you're getting at on
non-attack
that, yeah.
skills. Yeah,
Just to keep her out of harm's way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pissing off everybody. You're getting, the Ocean Breeze Lulika's getting triggered, Celine's getting triggered, Politis is sitting there with her gun, just
Everyone's
with her 2 kids,
waking
like
up.
sick 'em. Everybody's waking up, and that makes it so hard.
Yeah. Certainly.
To get things across. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's all my notes. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
from
So
me is a
yeah, I'm
designer
hearing mainly
perspective.
like S3 either having CR pushback or decreased speed, S1 for CR push, and then if you wanted to rework the Soulburn, you could do Team Wime CR and push for Soulburn, or maybe AoE cleanse on S2, right?
Yeah, because I think especially you want to play into what the character's identity is.
Yeah.
That's narrative design as much as it is game design. You want people to look at a character, look at a kid, and have it feel cohesive. And I
Right.
think making her do a little bit more and giving her more options to have more powerful effects alongside her
Certainly.
is great. Because I definitely don't want to say give her something like, increase her survivability so she gets more
Right.
of those of healing of things out, because that's not her job. Her job isn't to sit here and increase survivability or live.
Yeah.
It's to blackmail and specifically disable a targeted unit. And I think getting that across in her kit is the go-to.
Certainly. And someone's saying, yeah, what about AoE S3? Well, that was what you were saying earlier about, like, this character is a very thin line between becoming very, very overwhelming, right? If you just have a team with a cleanser that then can say, well, no, you can't cleanse, I think it's a little bit too overwhelming, right? And then that would beget, we need to have every character have a self-cleanse now, right? So I think that for the most part is why we were saying maybe don't do that, right? Unless you want to throw everything into chaos. But I mean, at the end of the day, balance is tough, man. Like, you have 300 plus characters. There's a lot of things to factor in. And one other thing about your point about Soul Weavers, I think the state of a Soul Weaver right now is not just healing. I know healing is like a very pivotal part about that, but to me, when I hear Soul Weaver, I more see support, full support, right? And that's why I find the unique Soul Weavers really fun, like Death Dealer Ray or Dragon King Sharoon, because yes, they are supporting in some way, some more offense aligned, some more defense aligned, right? Like, obviously Death Dealer Ray with Pestilence, and Tides with with Dragon King Sharoon, right? They're still supporting, even if it is not giving heals, because if everybody healed, I mean, it's kind of the same argument, right?
It'd be one big pod. There's only so many times you could have a character heal. That's actually, there's a whole talk about that in the game development space with hero shooters. Those games have struggled with, like, how many different ways can we give you a gun that heals someone, right? How many different interactions can there be between you point at someone and their HP bar goes up? It is difficult, especially for healers, to make them feel unique.
Certainly.
Now that I've said my smart stuff and I've taken a soft touch, I believe, towards Brigitte, I will say one last thing, which is my dumb idea, which is just for fun and should never be implemented.
I am writing it down right now.
Just my dumb idea. Because she's an information broker, I thought this would be fun. Give her a CR increase at the beginning of the match, similar to Zio, but make that CR increase equal to how many souls you start the match with.
You or your opponent?
You. Actually,
Okay.
we could technically do both, but that's crazy. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it works in well with her bird's eye view artifact, where she gives herself, she'll give herself those souls, right? Where it's just like that gives her, like, so every round she gets a CR increase for her next turn based on how many souls she ends her turn with, right?
That would be interesting, yeah.
And that would certainly make some stupidity, like some kind of interaction on there would be fun. Would people hate me for saying that? Absolutely.
Certainly.
Thank God Sue,
but that's
Sue
your
left for
for
his
fun,
birthday.
right?
Yeah, that's my for fun.
If we
That's
want,
my for
okay, if
fun.
we wanted to cook that idea just a little bit further, when S2 is available according to cooldown, increases CR according to all souls available on the field. Maybe like, you know, a small amount, maybe, but that way it's like similar to like Infinite Horizon, right? Where so long as she's not ripping that cleanse, she's going, she's on top of it. Or if I want to play the information broker part, S3 instead of dispelling steals all buffs and puts to self. Because she just yoinks all that information, right? And now it's like, okay, yeah, that Landy where I put, you know, like anti-crit and defense buff and everything else. No, I'm holding that right now, and you can't, and now I'm a threat, but you can't touch me, you know? That was your fault. I'm here, you know?
Yeah,
But-
I really like that. You know, I was even going to go, I like you. We haven't got a unit that does this in a while, but like, because I think the only one I could think of is Kira. Is that her name?
Kiris?
No, yeah, Kiris. I'd like something that extends debuffs.
Oh yeah, no,
I have a good debuff extender. Yeah.
The good old Abyss 102 extender. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
That
Yeah, here it is.
something,
Yeah, extends debuffs by 2 turns on corrosive volley. This is a cool. I like this option select kind of character. Definitely niche, but that's why it's on a 3-star. But I like that too.
Yeah, Dizzy has that as well. We don't see too many units that are in that position. She could also, you know, for a single target, not AoE once again. I don't think it's that crazy. The second you start getting into AoE, God, we are suffering.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was a lot of fun though to talk about. I think that honestly, the more I stew on it, and I'm feeling it's funny to say it, but the more I stew on your funny idea, the more I'm like, yeah, that actually sounds really interesting. Like some people are saying that's like a secondary belly in space, right? Especially, you know, and stuff like that. I think it's like fun, you know, or maybe she pushes up on enemy soul burn, right, or something like that.
I've always talked about wacky. I was talking to Valk about this the other day, and he said, "Please, I beg God, you're never working on the balance team." But I was like, I'd like a knight that just copies the S1 of the highest HP target in the game. So like if LRK's there, they just give themselves a speed buff afterwards. If it's Unbound Knight Arrowwell, they're taking away debuffs. They're cleansing multiple buffs on the enemy team every time they slap something silly like that.
Imagine,
like
I can imagine that, like, you know, like those mimic characters that take on the shape and form of other characters, stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
Those
because
are
you
cool.
could never do it. Yeah, you could never do it for S3 because the animation. Would just be
Obviously,
going
but like for S1, it would like morph them into like an imagination or like a machination of one of the characters.
Yeah, the only messed up part is when Beline's on the other team and they start AoEing you, and you're like,
Wait a second. Yeah. Okay, well that was our fun little segment. Guys, chat. First of all, you know, put in some last thoughts about what you think about Divine's Brigida thoughts here, but. How did you guys like that little segment? I want to keep this going for future streams, and I hope you guys liked it. Again, the wheel is still over there. We're going to definitely be spinning it a couple more times, but I hope you guys had a lot of fun with it. But it does look like that is all the time that we do have for today. So unfortunately, I cannot throw us into any draft mode matches for today. But
you guys are saved. I would have definitely lucked my way to a hard victory.
This man was well prepared for it. Like I think that you guys might have been a little scary, right? So I hope you guys had fun with it. And for the next stream, we'll definitely do some more draft mode matches when we have the chance to. That being said, Divine, thank you so much again for joining us today. If you'd like to just take a moment to talk about, you know, maybe not where you stream, but you know who you appear on, you know where your head peeks in, you know, stuff like that. Anything Epic 7 related where you make content, let us know now.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, Following me will remind you of the once yearly Christmas stream I do for charity. Last year we raised, I believe, over $660 for
Wow.
Toys for Tots, and I'm super proud of the Epic 7 community. Every time we get to give back and do something amazing like that, hoping you guys can join us that year for this year for that as well.
Congrats on the fundraiser. Yeah.
Other than doing that end of year Christmas fundraiser where I get to hang out with all my friends, you'll catch me with Tristan Wolf, you'll catch me with Valky, you'll catch me with Sue, you'll catch me with anyone in the Epic 7 community can ask me to come on. I'm always down for a good time.
Certainly.
But that's where I'm at, and you'll be able to hear about the games and the cosplay and all the little stupid stuff I'm doing in the meantime. And as I always like to say, I'm thankful for another opportunity to serve the community, to just be the voice for you guys, to shout out for my favorite little idiots, and to get something to say righteous towards you. I'm thankful for every opportunity I get like this, and remember to tell someone you love them today.
Of course. Thank you for the wise words, Divine. As always, we really do appreciate it. I have some last couple little announcements. Again, once more, if you guys haven't taken or participated in part with Tristan's survey, feel free to do so as soon as possible. It is in both chats. It should be pinned on both of them. Share it around too. Feel free to make your voices heard. I will be personally sending this over to our development team. So yes, your opinion is very important. We need to make sure we are taking in as much as we can. So please take the survey. We'd love to hear your voice. Second of all, if you guys haven't entered in the Pixio contest, once again, that is a partnership with Pixio that we have, which is a giveaway for a monitor, Pixio. Don't miss out on that. The giveaway ends soon, so don't miss out. You have a chance of winning a wave pink monitor. It looks really cool. We tried it for a couple minutes, and the quality is great. On top of that, not only is there E7WC 2024 finals matches happening tomorrow on Saturday and Sunday. Once again, the global team, me, Ryoko, RSL, and a couple others will be at Anime Impulse 2024. So if you want to come out, say hi, get some merch, take some photos, play some draft mode, we will be there. So I know it's a lot. Hope you guys really do show up, take the survey, take the giveaway, come join us at Anime Impulse. We would love to see you. That's about everything we have for today. We will be back in a couple weeks for our next Orbis Overdrive. We'll be talking about the 92 update and everything else, but that is about everything for today. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you all in the next episode. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Happy anniversary, everyone.
Happy Azrin Foundation.
Yeah.